Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you are having an amazing Tuesday. My name is Colleen Gallagher. If you've never met me before, and when you pop on, say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from on this beautiful planet. I love knowing. I'm currently in LA, but I had a very interesting day. I had never been called to jury duty, but anyway, I had got called, so everyone pray for me that I'm released. And I do not have to stay. But I wanted to share with each of you today is day 6 out of my 31-day live that I'm doing on Instagram, turning heartbreak into your love story or into one of your greatest love stories. And so I'm going live every day on my Instagram at I am Colleen Gallagher in 2020 in October. It's for 31 days, and then you have a week after, so through November, the first week, basically when I turn 27, I'm then going to take all the 31 lives down, and it's going to go into a paid online program. So I highly suggest that if you're watching these videos and you like them, watch them all when you can, because after that I'm taking them down, and it'll be a paid program that's launched with my 3rd book, which is why I'm doing these lives. It's called An Uncompromised Life. And that book was specifically about how I compromised my character, my desires, and my needs in relationship, and how from that there was birth an unplanned pregnancy that I chose to let go of. And I always knew, though, I was going to adopt, because when I had cancer at age 14, it was shared with me it'd be very hard for me to be able to have children, and I always knew I was going to adopt. And so this was the missing part of my story of my adoption, and knowing how I'm going to meet my child. So it's a very miraculous story. It's for anyone who's gone through heartbreak, anyone who's really gone through any type of trauma. I go into understanding how to overcome it. And when you share this video, so when you're watching it and you share this video, you get entered into, at the very end of the month, October 31st, we're going to do a drawing. So you'll get a few things. You'll get one, a signed copy of An Uncompromised Life. You'll get a signed copy of Live Your Truth, my oracle cards. You'll get 2 calls with me for the first person we pick, and then the other 2 people will get all 3 of those, and then 1 call with me. And so share this to get the message out there. And today's video is all about guilt. There's something that I want to shed light on in this video specifically, is I feel like many of us, we live our lives and we compromise what we know is what's best for us. So for an example, we hate a job, but we think it's best for us to show up because we think that's the only way to receive money. We don't like a job, but it has good health care, and we think that if we just keep showing up to that job, that health care is eventually gonna fulfill our soul's deepest calling. And the truth is that we may even feel guilty being in a relationship that we don't really love the person, but maybe we're using that person for safety, for validation, for things we don't think we can provide for ourselves. And so a lot of times when that happens, we'll end up in a relationship where someone cheats on someone, where someone can't leave even if they really want to leave, because they have such a codependent need, which is where I was, of needing to feel like I was loved and validated, even though I was like doing things that I didn't want to do, even though I like really was in such excruciating pain. Like I can't even describe to you. Like I carried so much pain that I would show up to a relationship knowing that I didn't want to be doing something I was doing, or knowing I didn't like a relationship dynamic I was in, but I felt, and I still believe this, I loved that person so much, it wasn't even about me, that I felt like I had to do it in order to have that person in my life. And that the thought of not having that person in my life was more painful than me just showing up and living through the pain. And I felt so guilty on the inside, because not guilty to anyone else, but guilty to my soul. Because really, guilt is an emotion. It's a feeling that is an alarm bell that's letting you know that your soul and your human body and your soul are not integrated. Your spirit of what you truly know you're here to do, of what you truly are here to experience, what you are truly here to express, and your body are not in alignment, not going together. You're like fighting against your own spirit, basically your own soul, and you're forcing yourself to show up to things, and then you feel guilty because you know that you could have been using that time and that energy that you're giving to somebody, to a business, to a person, you're giving that away instead of to yourself. And anytime, what I've learned in my life, and I can share it with you, is that anytime that we, I'm feeling of the story, anytime that we know, let's say for example, we just want to sit at home and take a bath, but then our friends are like, come to dinner with me, go to dinner, it'd be so fun, let's go to dinner, let's do this, and you're like, oh, I really don't want to, I don't want to get ready. But then like you allow yourself to be guilted by your friends or whoever it is into going out or into going to dinner, into whatever that was, instead of staying home and taking care of yourself. That feeling of guilt, or it could come off as anger towards other people, is really a guilt and anger at yourself because you betrayed your own self for someone else. And in that betrayal, when you do it just once or twice, you'll kind of be like, oh, that hurt, that wasn't so great. But for me, and I know a lot of us do this, when we continuously betray ourselves by showing up to a job we hate, by showing up to family dynamics that aren't making us happy, by not being true to what's really on our heart and soul, when that happens, we build guilt. And we feel guilty, like we're not doing something right, or we feel like something's always wrong. Hey, Jade. And in a lot of ways in our life, I feel like people think like, oh, I stole something, and I'm going to feel guilty that I stole and someone didn't know about it, or I'm keeping a secret. Guilt doesn't really happen like that. Thank you, Jade. Guilt doesn't really happen that way. Guilt, it really is the initiation of, I know in my soul I should or shouldn't be doing something. And when I continuously allow my soul or my body or my mind to physically do something that I know is not in alignment with how I feel on the inside, that is where guilt builds, and that guilt will blow up in your life eventually. That guilt of knowing that you could be being more, you could be loving differently, you could be expressing, you could be being who it is you truly are. And in that process of you being, you will set yourself free. You will stop feeling bad about telling a waiter, like I once did a long time ago, or not that long ago. I would feel like so bad sending food back. I'd be like, oh, I didn't really like that, but I should eat it. I have to eat it. Even though that's not what my soul wanted, my body would like force myself. But because I made it a standard of forcing myself to do things I truly didn't want to do, the guilt builds. And as guilt builds, as it grows momentum, your body internally, your mind doesn't keep score, but I talk about this in my third book, your heart is always keeping score. And there'll be a point in your life when your heart cannot cope with the pain of guilt that you're forcing your body and soul to go through, even though you know there's something greater for you. And what I'm talking about here is the way that you can know there's something greater for you is like, you know that you feel like you're missing out on something. You feel like you're like, if I were to die tomorrow, I don't really feel like I've lived the best life. I don't really feel like I said the best thing. I don't really feel like I loved the depth that I could love. I don't feel like I made the investments in the right friendships. Like, if those are topics in your head, or you're having constant anxiety and depression, that is because you feel guilty of not being true to you. And the sooner you start to act in alignment of being true to who it is you are, and being true to who it is you are, and your actions are aligning with that. And not everyone's perfect. I don't want to pretend like this is a perfect thing. It's not an end all be all. Like, sometimes we do need to do things of like, I don't really want to do that, but I show up to it, and then you're like, ugh, I didn't really feel like that. I feel guilty that I wasn't at my business. I feel guilty I didn't give myself my own space to grow. I feel guilty that my boyfriend asked for space, or my partner asked for space, or my girlfriend, and I like invaded their space instead of taking my space. Like, that's because you didn't listen to your soul. You knew it wasn't right for you not to, like, for you to not give them space, or for you to have space, but you let the feelings of anxiety or overwhelming emotions overtake you from what you know was true for you. And that process of guilt, how you turn it into a love story, is looking at what are the gifts in the guilt. What are the gifts when you are acting out of alignment between what you really want and what your actions are doing. And in that misalignment, that guilt, where can you see the gift? Where can you create the story? Where can you allow yourself to learn and to become introspective of creating a better future, of making better decisions, of recognizing your patterns, of recognizing a pattern of mine, and this was mine, a pattern of mine was to date men specifically. And in that, I would want obsessively to make it work instead of trusting the journey of it, which was kind of a duality because I really wanted a journey with a guy. I still probably do want that. I do desire to go on a journey with a partner. But the duality of where I was acting out of the guilt was that I was obsessively trying to control it instead of it letting be for what it is. And that guilt of forcing and forcing and forcing, of knowing that you shouldn't be forcing something, but you're doing it anyway, like knowing in your body, like, whoa, that's a red flag, that's an alarm flag. I should just sit here in my sovereignty. I should just sit here in my being. I should just relax. That process of not taking the action to feel guilty because you're realizing you're not in alignment, to just sit back, take a deep breath, allow it to align, and then break your patterns, that allows you to remove the guilt. And that allows whatever instances in your life have become you feel guilty about, you can look at them with compassion and understand that you are someone who is evolving on a journey of awakening, and you are evolving on a journey of remembering why your soul is here, and that you are going through an evolution just as the planet and like trees go through, plants go through evolution. You are much going through an evolution like that. And so you can give yourself compassion where you feel guilty for decisions that were not in alignment, and understand there's a beautiful gift and miracle in it for you to break the pattern and initiate into something new. And so I hope this serves you. If this is a conversation that you love, there's 3 things that I want to offer you. One, as I said, share this so people also can hear the message about guilt and how to overcome it. Because there was an article I read recently, but the 2 biggest emotions people do not know how to process are guilt and shame. And there is so much guilt that people carry from if they've cheated on people, or if they've gotten on divorces, or if they've had an unplanned pregnancy, or they've are doing jobs they don't like, if someone died in your life and you didn't really get to say what you wanted to say to them, like this guilt doesn't have to be that way, and it's a very deep emotion many of us carry, and we mask it in other ways. So I want you to know that this is something a lot of us are working through, and I want this to be a channel of service for you. So when you have questions, feel free to comment below and I can get back to them. But share this video. 1, 2, if you want to go deeper into this, I have a free Facebook community that we're going into all these things deeper, and we have more dialogue. 3, you can pre-order my book, An Uncompromised Life. You get a crystal from our Crystella crystal line, and I say ours because it's my daughter's and mine. And you also get a handwritten note. The letters are absolutely beautiful. That's channeled just for you. And then the last thing is, if you are feeling like you really are wanting to overcome guilt, you are really wanting to move through your life, move through heartbreak, or move through trauma, I am offering 4 sessions with me before the end of the year at $1,495. Usually that's like at least $5,000. So definitely message me and we'll get you involved. We actually have a payment plan as well. So if you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I feel like, Colleen, I need to talk to you. I need to tell you my story. I need to move through the things that you are talking about. I want to be of service. I want to be able to help you. So message me. We'll get you enrolled and we'll figure out the money situation. But I love you so much. Know, and I want to say this super close to the thing, know that if you are here watching this, that you are absolutely so close to falling in love. You are absolutely so close to overcoming your heartbreak. You are absolutely so close to knowing that you can live an uncompromised life to your soul. So I love you. I'm excited to see you every day here in October. Please share this and we'll talk soon.